Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where your host, Jimmy Allen, takes you around the city of Omaha, introduces you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact in our community. And I never refer to myself in the third person like that, so that was weird. But we are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Pixel Fire Marketing is a locally owned marketing firm who specializes in website design, creating new social media ads, engaging your brand online in front of your ideal customer. If you need help with any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. Today, I'm joined by Justin Wecker with PaymentSmith. Justin, thanks for being here, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
I dragged you in out of the weight room
Yeah.
and forced you to do this podcast today, so I appreciate you making time for us.
Yeah, not a problem.
Walk us through what PaymentSmith is and how you guys are helping local companies in the Omaha area.
Yeah, PaymentSmith is essentially a payment processing company. I help business owners, local business owners, maximize their payments efficiencies, cut costs where where I can see them saving money, whether that be on their processing statement, gift card, loyalty programs, whatever the case may be. So I'm just kind of helping bridge the gap between what the business owner is doing currently and then where I can help them out.
There are a lot of options out there, and I think when we're talking about payment processing, there's a lot of misconstrued notions or ideas about what it is versus what it actually does.
Right.
What are some of the commonly asked questions you get that are maybe questions that don't really fall into the payment processing realm?
The number one question I always get, regardless of who I'm talking to, is how much money can I save? Which is a fair enough question.
Sure.
But I guess the payment processing industry, there's a lot of players in the game, from big companies to small companies like ours. I guess where we differentiate ourselves is our customer service. A local rep that will be there to answer the merchant's calls, whatever time it is. Usually I have merchants that call me, at 10 o'clock at night if they need help. And if I'm available, I'll answer the call. So that's where we differentiate ourselves, just with our customer service aspect.
When somebody's looking at it, because there's so many options out there. There's Square, there's PayPal, whatever. When we're talking about what sets aside a company that is smaller, what do you guys do? And maybe the customer service is a simple enough an answer. Is what else do you guys really do that kind of differentiate you guys from the competition?
Right. We have, so apart from Square and PayPal, Shopify, Toast, those are like,
Jeez, man, I was trying to limit the competition.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. And,
sure.
But they have one specific solution. Usually, it's like, but where we come in, like we can offer a Clover, Ingenico, what's it called? What's it called? PAX. Excuse me, a PAX term, a Deja Vu system. I mean, we have different varieties of solutions that. Sometimes a Clover is the main thing I work with my merchants with, but sometimes a Clover is not the best option. So we look at the different solutions like, okay, this one is going to be a better fit. Whereas, a Square is like, okay, here's your
This
Square.
is all we got.
Here's your flat rate pricing.
Right.
Here's this, and this is what you're stuck with. Whereas, my clients that work with me, I help, navigate the payment processing waters as far as like, hey, we can adjust your processing cost to help benefit your business. Whereas Square's like, all right, you're paying.
This is it. Yeah.
This is it. This is what you're paying, and you're stuck with it.
And the one thing that you guys also do is you guys have the 15, 20-minute consultation, and then you guys do a live demo of what you guys offer. How much does that kind of help getting in front of the client and showing, hey, this is exactly the benefit of it, as opposed to maybe just setting them a PowerPoint that explains that stuff?
Right, yeah. So that live demo is crucial for me, especially because it's hard to, sell a product and not see it in person or see how it works. You wouldn't go to a car dealership, if you're looking for a used car or whatever, and not test drive it.
Right.
So that's kind of how I work it. It's like, hey, here's your demo. And they get a good sense of like, okay, this is how this system's going to operate for my business. And we can customize it, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be different for a bar, a restaurant, a retail salon. Like we can always customize a solution to tailor to the business needs.
When you work in this industry that's so heavily reliant on technology now, what does PaymentSmith do to kind of stay ahead of the curve as far as technology is concerned and really kind of, not be outdated when they wake up in the morning because it's usually that quick?
Yeah, for sure. We're always just trying to find like, okay, what's the next trend in the point of sale, solution game, where, we like, last year we're pushing like an Ingenico, whatever the case may be. And then this year, okay, let's start pushing the packs. Or
What are the difference between the two?
it's just different functionalities.
Okay.
There's different styles of the terminals. Sure. For example, like I said, Clover is one of my main products I do push. We have a Clover Flex, Clover Mini, Clover Station, Station Duo.
Sure, and we're talking about standalone point of sale systems.
Right, standalone point of sale. So there's really different varieties of the solution. And like I said, where I come in, it's like, okay, you need inventory management, you need payroll, you need time clock, and I'll put a solution in front of them that would.
And that's all implemented into that one Clover package.
Right,
okay.
right. Now there's might be different costs associated, depending on different things they may need.
Right.
But sometimes people just need, hey, I just need to run credit card sales.
Yeah.
I don't care about the inventory, anything like that. So then
it's just me. I don't need payroll.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So sometimes there's a situation like that, and we just put a basic terminal in front of them, and off we go.
Walk me through how different those two things look, because in today's day and age, you can flip a switch, turn a computer on, you own a business, right?
Right.
And everybody needs to be able to sell something in most cases. When you're talking to you used a bar as a reference a minute ago, and I think when we think point of sale systems, everybody can hear John Taffer yelling in the back of our head, right?
Yeah.
Walk me through how much different that looks from your perspective, selling to a bar that does $500,000 a year in businesses versus somebody who's selling stuff on Amazon on the side in a small business. How much different does that kind of make your job look?
So when you're talking, you reference Amazon, so that'd be e-commerce.
Sure.
So that's a little bit different from when you're talking about in-person point of sale system.
Right.
With a bar, you have to have, an inventory management solution. You have to be able to have open tabs. You have to be able to have a table layout.
Demographic. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can click on this table. Hey, this person's moving over to table 2.
Yep.
We got to bring their drinks, whatever. If they have food at the bar, bring their food. Or, we have to have the ability for the server to transfer the tab.
Anybody listening to this that was a bartender or server just cringed when you said that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just had that. One of my clients over the weekend have
that issue.
Some issues with that. And it's not a perfect world.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's technology. I mean, things are going to go awry sometimes. But
how do you handle those situations if somebody, like we've all dealt with a customer or client that's maybe not the most ideal to work with? And obviously we all have those people that call us and it's going to be an easy conversation. Right. When somebody calls you and sometimes it's maybe just an educational situation where they that you've explained to them a few times, how do you handle those type of situations?
Yeah, I mean honestly, when I see my my work phone go off and I see the name pop up, sometimes I have to take a little deep breath.
Sure.
Which is,
we all do.
We all do, yes. And then, I answer it and it's like, oh, hey, what's up? So-and-so, what's going on?
I could tell you knew the name in your head that you were thinking of. Right?
Oh, yeah, I got a couple of them. I love all my clients.
Yeah, sure.
They're all worth it, but some of them just need a little bit more attention, which is okay.
When we talk about the payment processing field and technology ever changing, what are some of the things that is maybe a hurdle for you guys right now at PaymentSmith that is, hey, listen, this is being implemented, so now it makes our job a little bit more difficult?
Players like Toast, who have kind of taken over the restaurant and bar industry.
Sure.
With their point of sale. I think that's the biggest hurdle if we're trying to, help out a restaurant or a bar. In that sense, I would say Toast right now is like our biggest hurdle, like getting into like restaurants. I would say they kind of have a stranglehold on the restaurant game.
When we're catching up with Justin Wecker from PaymentSmith here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. If that's the hurdle, what are some of the things that you're excited about that's maybe new to the industry or coming down the pipe that you guys are really excited to work with?
Just different solutions, right? Like I was alluding to earlier, like, having a different variety of options to go to. And I won't lie to you, Toast is I think Toast is a great product.
Sure.
They created a great solution for restaurants and bars, and I will not lie about that.
That's not the only payment method that's out there. Obviously, people need processing outside of those industries.
But Clover is, stepping their game up as far as, getting into that restaurant bar vertical. So I'm pretty excited about that. They got a lot of good stuff down the pipeline. They just recently launched for QSR, a kiosk,
Okay.
self-serving kiosk. So
What's QSR? Sorry.
quick service restaurant.
Okay, gotcha.
And then FSR is full service restaurant. So that's
Gotcha.
going to be where you have
Maybe a
waiter.
brick and mortar versus a full front of the house.
Right.
Sure.
So I'll give you an example. I have a cafe in Lincoln, Bonwich Cafe. It's like a bubble tea cafe.
Sure.
He's getting a kiosk. He's going to put it right at the front. And his customers going to be able to click on the screen
Self-service
themselves.
type
Yeah. And then they'll bring the food right up. Whereas a full service restaurant, you have a waiter, takes you to your seat.
Sure.
Takes your order right there. Comes back 15, 20 minutes. So yeah.
That's incredible. And it just kind of feels like stuff like that is just happening more and more. And I think the pandemic kind of made people pivot to that direction. Is there anything that happened maybe in the pandemic stage that the payment processing industry looked at and said, oh, we have to implement this, and then kind of took it and ran with it post-pandemic that's kind of benefited the company?
Yeah, contactless payments for sure. Before the pandemic, I don't know the exact percentage, but I think the United States was one of the lowest percentage
by
rates
far
for contactless payments.
Yeah.
Whereas like the UK or England or whoever it was, I think they were like 70%.
Wow.
Using contactless payments. So I would say contactless payment options.
Do you know where the United States is now from a percentage standpoint?
I don't. I haven't looked at the numbers.
I can't imagine it's probably had to double or triple that number.
Yeah, I would say it's probably at like 40% if I had to guess.
Sure.
I don't know the number right off the top of my head, but
we won't hold you to it.
yeah, I appreciate it. No, don't fact check me.
Yeah. If contactless payment is the future, do you see it as a net positive? I mean, for what you guys do specifically?
It just depends on the vertical you're in. I mean, for restaurants, I think it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting on, the printed tab coming to the table, and your waitress or waiter might be slammed.
I was at a restaurant the other night, waited 20 minutes from a bill.
Right.
Yeah.
And where
I might have a lead for you, by the way.
What's that?
I said I might have a lead for you, by the way.
Appreciate it, yeah. But when those waiters and waitresses, they walk up with the handheld tablet, whatever it is, Toast, Square, Clover, and they walk up, here's your bill, you want to split it, whatever the case may be, and you do it right there in less than 2 minutes. That's the game changer for contactless payments anyways, because then you don't have to hand your card over.
If somebody is the ideal client, let's say, whether it be like who or what does that look like from a standpoint of, hey, we are the best fit for you? If it's like number of employees, type of business, etc., what does that kind of look like?
That's a good question. I would say like the ideal like client for me is, I would say, a business owner who's willing to adjust and adapt to different changes.
Sure.
I wouldn't say a specific size business is best overall. I mean, they're all important.
Yeah, absolutely. I just know that there's a lot of managed services out there that are like, hey, our wheelhouse is X amount of customers, X amount of clients, X amount of employees.
Yeah, for me, I mean, like my portfolio, it varies. I have salons, bars, one restaurant. I got a lot of retail.
What's your most unique client? You don't have to give us the name, but what do they do?
One of my really good buddies down in Texas, he owns 2 barbecue restaurants.
Oh, okay.
So if you're in Houston or San Antonio, look up Pinkerton's Barbecue.
Okay. Shout out to Pinkerton's Barbecue.
Yep, shout out Pinkerton's
We can be bragged by racks of ribs. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, I would say when I helped him out, that was probably my most unique, because
Is that a big deal for you? Be able to help out somebody you know and somebody you
yeah.
obviously have a previous relationship with?
it is. I mean, it is. I like helping out people I know, but it's kind of nerve wracking sometimes. 'Cause
Right. There's that added element to it, right?
There's that added element, like when you're dealing with somebody's, that's finances,
Yeah.
being processed someone's finances at some point. When you're
The way they make a living.
right,
Yeah.
and some of the things are out of your control. Like if the server networks go down for the solution you push, like that's out of your control. But
Sure. But it happens to every
it
solution.
happens to every solution.
Yeah.
So that's always like an added element, like you said. Like I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But
Because
sometimes it does.
they're not calling Justin the payment process guy. They're calling their buddy of X amount of years that push
exactly.
this to
Yeah.
how do you balance the sales part of it versus what we kind of focused on mainly here, the support or the maintenance of what's going on? Is that difficult for you to do?
No, just because I've been doing it for about 5 or 6 years now. Sometimes there's something that comes up and I can, resolve it within, 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes there's something that comes up. I have a client has been dealing with a gift card issue, which is, out of my control. But where I step in is I'm working with the gift card team now, like try and escalate this to
Take out the middleman.
take out the middleman.
Sure.
Can
you walk us through what that? Do you feel comfortable talking about what that issue is? And what
yeah. So I have a client. She does a good amount of volume, does a lot of gift cards. So her issue was she wasn't able to order gift cards. She would log in, go through the order process. She'd say, all right, order processing, and then it would kick her back. So if there's an error when ordering gift cards. So I still don't even know what the whole problem is, but I think there's like a glitch between the gift card solution team and whatever they do on gift cards and her processing account.
Right.
So whatever that glitch is, I think they got it fixed. But yeah, it was preventing her from ordering, 1,000 gift cards, which, for me,
that's a ton. Yeah.
That's a good chunk of change that she's spending on, this solutions gift card services. So you'd think they'd want to get it fixed immediately.
Yeah. How much of, when we're talking about the technical side of things, how much are you on premises versus maybe working remotely or with a third party?
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, if I'm doing the tech services, all my clients call me first.
Sure.
And that's one of the added values I always tell all my clients, like, hey, you don't need to call the 1-800 number to get a hold of somebody to help you with your problems.
Yeah.
You can call me, and that's where I step in. That's when I start dealing with the support teams and whatnot. On my client's behalf. And there's some situations where I have to have them call 1-800 if I'm out of office, whatever the case may be. But that's where I have an added value to my clients, is where I step in and, help them with the support.
We're catching up with Justin Wecker of PaymentSmith here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. I want to talk about you, Justin Wecker, the person, not the payment processor at PaymentSmith for a minute. You just had a newborn baby. You're married.
Yep.
You're in the gym 3 or 5 times a week. You're taking technical support calls. How difficult is it for you to separate all of those different hats you have to wear?
It gets difficult at times. But I think at the end of the day, you have to, put the work aside. Like, all right, I'm home now, spending time with my daughter and my wife. And sometimes you just have to let some calls go, and you just got to take it the next day.
Sure.
It can be difficult at times because I like what I do. I like helping people. So my work phone's always with me. Even when we go, on vacation, my wife's like, why do you have to bring your work phone?
Yeah.
I was like, duty calls.
Remember how the lights are turned on at home?
Right, yeah.
I have to have that conversation with my wife from time to time too. If when we talk about the title that you have, and obviously when you're up in the senior portion of a company, it's always a good spot to be. But if we're talking about the future and where you'd like to be with PaymentSmith, what does the future look like, and what are you hoping to achieve? Yeah,
so we're actually kind of like pivoting on our verticals that we're going after. So we call it B2C, that's business to consumer. So we've been focusing on that the last few years pretty heavily. But we're pivoting now to kind of target more B2B. That could be your construction companies, marketing companies, things like that. So we feel like that's a pretty untapped market as far as, payment processing companies targeting and going after. We'll still do B2C, no problem, but we're just kind of pivoting to B2B.
What about for you personally?
I mean, B2B, I think there's a lot of potential.
You're just happy with where you are too, and that's,
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm happy with where we're at and where we're headed. Just being able to adjust, I think that's key as well.
What did you do before you were in payment processing?
Yeah, so I actually sold cars for a few years, so it's kind of funny. So that's a lot of my references will be like the car sales.
Yeah, test driving. You already made it once. Yeah, sure.
After I graduated. Actually, I was selling cars before I graduated because I finished online my bachelor's degree. So I started selling at Norfolk GM back home for about a year or so, and then I was like, well, Norfolk.
How much different is it selling cars versus selling payment processing?
It's a complete.
I was gonna say that doesn't feel like that's apples to apples.
It's not. It's not. Selling a car, all right, get in the GMC Sierra or whatever the case. Like, no matter.
Do you like it? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like it? What color do you want?
Yeah. Can you afford it?
Right.
All right, let's go talk.
There we go. Yeah.
Sure.
But when you're dealing with payment processing, there's more to it. Like, you got to do a cost analysis of what they're currently paying. What do they need to
to grow.
To grow.
Yeah.
Do you need gift cards? Like we talked earlier, gift cards, time clock, payroll, loyalty programs, whatever the case may be. So there's a lot more that goes into it than just, telling somebody what their processing rate is. And then also the support on the back end.
You've mentioned gift cards a couple times, maybe it's because it's the most recent situation we had to deal with. But you've also kind of brought up the loyalty rewards, and it kind of that feels like that's a growing niche and something that almost everybody has now. Is that something that you've kind of seen recently kind of take off, or am I just noticing it late?
No, it is. I know for me, I don't really use a lot of gift cards, a plastic gift card anyways. Sure. So I think the trend now is like digital gift cards.
So somebody just sent me one when I was walking in here, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, they were supposed to be our guest tomorrow on the podcast. They couldn't make it. They gave me a gift card to their establishment. So yeah, so like the digital gift card, I think that's the trend for gift cards. But loyalty is, I think that's taking off extremely at a high rate as well. I mean, if you go to an establishment, whatever it is, Casey's does it now. McDonald's. I mean,
they all do it.
Anybody that asks you if you're a rewards member, it's crazy.
Right, and it's smart on the business owner to get into a loyalty because you're just driving more foot traffic to your business.
Gives people reason to come to you.
Right, exactly.
We're kind of hitting that mark where we tend to say goodbye to everybody. Is there anything about PaymentSmith or Justin Wecker we haven't referenced or that you'd like people to know about you guys?
If you're looking to make a change in your payments provider, feel free to reach out to me. If customer service and cost savings is of interest to you, reach out.
Where can people find you?
We have a website, PaymentSmtih.com.
Scrolling across the bottom, but do you want to give a phone number they can reach out?
Yeah. My direct line is 402-649-5544. And then my email address is justin.wecker@paymentsmith.com.
And his name is written at the bottom of the screen as well. So if you need any of that information, that's where it's at. Hey, man, I appreciate you doing this today. Thanks for being here with us. Right. We're looking for a guest tomorrow. If you didn't get the reference that I just made a minute ago, our previous guest has rescheduled on us. So if you'd like to make an appearance on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, reach out to me at Jimmy@spotlightomaha.com. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 for Justin. I'm Jimmy. We'll talk to you tomorrow.